Ever since the dawn of the digital age, hackers have been coding all sorts of malicious software. Some are just annoying pranks, while others are so disastrous. They disrupt entire infrastructures and cause millions, if not billions of dollars in damages. Join us as we look at some of the most dangerous computer viruses of all time. For convenience, we've included other malware including worms and Trojan horses.
Amazing!
Number 10. Sobig. This was a series of computer worms that infected millions of computers throughout 2003. There were a total of 6 iterations of the virus, each labelled with the letters A to F. The 6th one, Sobig F, held the record as the most transmitted virus in history, infecting up to 1 million computer systems within a single day. The virus was engineered brilliantly to fool mail servers into letting it through as a legit non-spam message, and upon opening, would send copies of itself to the user's entire email list. Damages caused by Sobig is estimated to be over $30 billion. The creators are still unknown, and Microsoft has offered $250,000 for info leading to their capture. Number 9. I Love You. This romantically named virus was created in 2000 by 2 Filipino programmers who used clever social engineering tactics to get the virus to spread. The file I Love You was a script disguised as a normal TXT file that sounded like a confession from a secret admirer. It lowered people's defenses, making them curious to know their secret Valentine. But once opened, the file immediately sent copies of itself to the user's email contacts. It would also proceed to overwrite files within itself, making the computers unbootable. A whopping 10% of the entire world's population got infected, wreaking havoc on systems worldwide, causing $10 billion in damages. It was so bad that entire governments and large companies had to take their mailing systems offline to avoid getting infected. The programmers were never charged, as there weren't laws on malware at the time. This has led to the enactment of the e-commerce law to prevent similar incidents. Number 8. Stormworm. Like many others, the Stormworm propagated through email, but instead of a file attachment, there would be a link to a website, an interesting link at that, with a catchy clickbait title, tempting gullible users towards it. But when clicked, nothing happened, or so it seemed. Instead of destroying computers, Stormworm aimed at taking over them. In the background, the invisible Trojan horse would allow hackers to remotely control the computers to do all sorts of stuff, including illegal activities such as stealing passwords, money, and identity manipulation. Stormworm started spreading in 2007 and within months grew into a wide network of botnets from the millions of computers it controlled. The programmers, who still aren't caught, would then sell the networks to other criminals. Thankfully, the botnet is now wiped out almost completely. Number 7. Code Red. This 2001 virus was discovered by employees of a digital security company while drinking Code Red Mountain Dew, hence its name. It spread through computers that used Microsoft's IIS web server and exploited the system's buffer overflow problem. It was extremely difficult to detect, as its size was only about 3 kilobytes and ran mostly on memory instead of disk space. Once activated, it would replicate itself like crazy and eat up a lot of system resources. Code Red gained infamy when it managed to infect the White House's server and put down the US government's website, leaving behind a message saying, "Hacked by Chinese," something that grew into a popular meme. It's unlikely the Chinese were really behind it, although no culprits were ever named. A patch was released fixing the problem, but $2 billion in productivity had already been lost. The virus managed to affect 2 million servers, about a third of all IIS servers at the time. Number 6. Slammer. On the 25th of January 2003, the entire internet broke down in South Korea for 12 hours. The virus also affected other things around the globe, such as airlines and bank ATMs. Connections either stopped completely or became extremely slow, even for 2003 standards. All this was caused by Slammer, a worm that specifically targeted Microsoft SQL servers by taking advantage of a bug present in the software. What seemed like an ordinary request for information was actually a code written to send out more copies of the worm to other servers. It grew incredibly fast, doubling in size every 8 seconds. Millions of servers got infected before it was finally stopped, causing $1.2 billion in damage. The people behind it were never caught, and Microsoft had actually released a patch to fix the bug much earlier, before the virus spread, but many just hadn't installed it yet. Number 5. Melissa. This one appeared quite early, back in 1999, and was the first ever mass mailing macro virus for the new internet age. Created by David Smith and named after a stripper he knew from Florida, the Melissa was spread through emails with an attachment by the name list.doc. It was accompanied by a short note saying, "Here is the document you asked for, don't show anyone else." Like the "I love you," it depended on people's curiosities to get them clicking. And boy did it work. Once the attachment file is clicked, it would replicate and send itself to the user's email contacts, and would sometimes corrupt documents by inserting quotes from the cartoon character Bart Simpson. The FBI managed to trace the file back to its creator, and Smith was arrested within a week of the outbreak. He later cooperated with law enforcement in capturing other hackers and malware creators, enabling him to get a reduced sentence of only 20 months and a fine of $5,000. The Melissa virus was the fastest virus of its time, causing $80 million in damages. Number 4. Sasa. In 2004, 18-year-old programmer Sven Jasken created Sasa, a worm that primarily targeted Windows. The worm itself didn't do much other than annoyingly slow down and crash computers, but collectively the results were incredibly disruptive. Millions of computers worldwide got infected, including critical infrastructures such as public transport, airlines, and hospitals. Unlike other viruses, Sasa didn't spread through email. Instead, it randomly scanned vulnerable systems and instructed them to download the virus. It then attacked the local security authority subsystem service, causing the systems to crash. $18 million of damage was recorded. Jasken was caught, but as a minor, got off with a light sentence. Number 3. MyDoom. In 2004, MyDoom took I Love You's place as the fastest growing email worm. It was discovered by a McAfee employee in 2004 who named it based on the line "my dom" present in the program's code, which meant my domain, but adding that extra O just made it sound a lot cooler. The creator, who still hasn't been caught, is believed to have been paid to create the virus in order to attack large tech companies. The worm spreads itself by deceiving email users by appearing as an error message that reads "mail transaction failed." But upon clicking the message, the file sends itself to the user's email contacts and copies itself to any PTP program's folder to propagate itself through that network. This results in a backdoor being opened that allows remote access. MyDoom is still somewhat active today in other forms and has caused upwards of $38 billion in damages. Number 2. Mebroot. This is a sophisticated Trojan horse that started spreading around 2007. The way Mebroot works is by infecting your computer as you visit some malicious websites. It would then overwrite your master reboot record, enabling it to tell your computer what to do upon startup, which in this case is to connect to its partner in crime, Torpig. Torpig would then proceed to lurk silently in your browser, keeping track of all the information you type in, your passwords, your account number, and every website you visit. Within a year, Mebroot Torpig managed to steal info from over 500,000 bank accounts. The virus creators are still at large. Number 1. Leap. Many Apple fanboys claim that Mac computers are impenetrable to viruses. By running a tightly closed system, Apple has managed to protect its software, preventing hackers from getting into their system as easily as they could with normal PCs. But the myth of their invincibility was shattered with the debut of Leap A in 2006. Also known as Oompa A, this virus utilized Apple's iChat instant messaging program. Once a Mac is infected, it will send a message to other users in the iChat's contact list in order to propagate itself. The payload isn't much though, as it only prevents an infected application. However, it's shown the world that Macs are not as impenetrable as we thought, paving a way for hackers to create more customized viruses in the future. Have you been victim to any viruses? Or are you one to shy away from dodgy emails? Let us know in the comments below.